their hair is really thick. The ones that live in the interior, whereas the ones that live on the coastal areas, Mali, Sudan, blah, 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 their hair is a lot straighter because they're closer to us. Peace, human families of the planet Earth. Welcome once again. I am your host, Aseer the Radio-Aseer. You have now tuned in to Super Heru Radio. Thank you for participating in your own mental, physical, spiritual re-evolution and regeneration into the time we are now. I'm here with my co-host, Selena the Empress of 10,000 Years, and I'm more Blackhawk. Say hotel. And we call it, again, coming to you live from the Isle of Flowers here on, the 10th of December. I believe approximately 12 days until we get to the last day of the 25,000-year cycle. Thank the Creator that we're all, those of us that's been alive up to this point, will be alive to see it come through. This is truly a monumentous and great, auspicious time for us to be alive, well in the knowledge of ourselves and our ancestors and our ancestral purpose, as well as all of those who have come before us and have been in situations where maybe in the past life they were an enemy, you know what I'm saying? And maybe in this life they want to be the next. Now, this does not mean that Aseer Dukateers necessarily believe in reincarnation as it's been purported by the so-called Western philosophers. However, I do believe in second chances, you know what I mean? And I do know that we are at the time in which we are being presented with the aspects of ourselves that we have been denying. And the biggest aspect of ourselves that we've been denying has been the aspect of our truest and only full nationality, you know what I mean? And what that represents and means for those of us that are coming into the cipher as it presents itself. Meaning that, again, we have been maybe one of the first to let people know that nationality also denotes a spiritual protection, understand? Nationality also brings about a what's called a spiritual quickening in the mind and the soul of the appointed or the anointed, meaning those who have chosen to be about what they say they about and not just play the role or play the part because this is what they believe they got to do. Like I said, our people are beset on all sides by folks who represent foreign nationalities, foreign understandings, but because they're black or melanated or woman or whatever, or have money or have a movement or a following, we believe that these people are really legit when really they're trying to confer on you a nationality that don't belong to you. You understand? And what's happening is that we are now reaching the auspicious time in history when the truth about that all is about to come out. So don't you find it funny that, like I said, as we get closer to this grand truth being revealed within, not just coming from somebody's mouth, but being represented in your own genetic structure, something that comes up within you at a specific time at a 25,000-year cycle, and that basically makes it so that way you find it hard not to. You find it hard to represent shit that you know is not full of substance, things that are not really bringing any real balance to the world. These are the things that are starting to play out in your genetic code right now, and are starting to accentuate it and quicken it to such a degree that you find it that much harder to be around bullshit niggas. You find it that much harder to eat food that everybody else is eating, but for you, for some reason, it has no flavor. You up at all hours of the night, not because you can't necessarily sleep, because there's something in you that don't want to sleep, or something in you that don't want to just sit down and just watch this shit idly go by. And what this cracker has been doing for all of these years is terrorizing you and putting you into a false sense of inferiority to allow it to manifest inside of your consciousness. So that way, before you even raise any declaration towards anything opposite than what everybody else is doing, the cracker that's in your mind shuts you down. You know what I'm saying? Like the internal cracker, the internal devil that's in you, that's already been placed in you from maybe when your mother put you in Catholic school, maybe when, because see, that's what we have to also accept and do the knowledge to. Again, I'm not into bashing women or none of that. But the females that I'm talking about is not women. And there came a point in our historic history where a lot of the females in our society began to entertain other nations. And in the process of entertaining those other nations, our individual infrastructure nation was broken down. And then they started to confer our children into the United States federal government via the institutions that they wanted their children in. And then the problem with that, again, was the fact, okay, well, there's no men. So what we are supposed to understand is that because there was no men in the home, that these women, in a sense, had to put their children in Catholic school, had to put their children in so-called Head Start after school programs and all of that. Nobody makes us do nothing. So being that I'm a product of this, I'm a product of a quote-unquote single mother, right, who basically allegedly did it all herself, which you didn't. And again, I'm not talking about single mothers who really do it by themselves, because I'm with one. And I'm here. And I'm, you know what I mean, full participant and still seeing what's going on. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about these chicks that almost use the single woman shit as a mantle for them to get money, not only from the government, but to break down the nigga that they actually had the baby and all that for. And for some reason, like I said, when it comes to our children and our families, it's like the man really has no say, but then you want to diss the man for not being there. Me personally, in my personal situation, my first marriage, the woman told me, no, you're not going to be a better parent than me. I'm taking this baby and do what I want to do. This is what the woman told me. So what was I supposed to do? What, pull a Chris Brown, go upside her head, steal my kid, take my kid, then what, I'm on the run, me and the kid is on the run and all of that? No, that's what she wanted. There were almost situations where there are certain females where we have to keep it real, and this is where real women come in. Real women, you got to start boxing these bitches up and putting them in a bag, man, because they the ones that's messing it up for you. All I meet is good brothers. On some real shit, all I meet is good black men. Good black men that's really working and trying to do that. And all these niggas are telling me the same thing. Yo, I want to get rid of a real woman. But, yo, these chicks out here, they scary. Like, niggas are scared. Niggas are scared to deal with black women. Not because they don't want to be with them, but because black women got it based on Desperate Housewives and all these other shows and all this shit that these black women entertain, the fake hair, the fake ass, the fake nails, the fake eyes, the fake breasts, right? The anal bleaching, the bleaching pills. This ain't no white woman forcing you to do that. Ain't no black man forcing a black woman to do that. That's what she chooses to do. But that's because she's dealing with the designation so-called Negro, black, or colored. And based on that, that's no nationality. So when you have no nationality as a stateless person, you just out there. You free. You just a piece of driftwood on the sea. So if a maritime ship passes and they need a piece of wood to patch up their ship, they're just going to pick that wood out of the ground, stick it to their ship, and keep moving. So what happens is we wind up in these pseudo-dilapidated relationships because I don't trust her. She don't trust me. I'm scared she's going to take my baby, my money, my this, my that. She basically feel that she deserves it all, so she don't necessarily have to do no real work, do no real knowledge and shit. And all of this creates situations. All of this creates problems. Because, see, we come from a culture where we used to design and preordain our mates and all that astrologically, where you wouldn't even have to meet your mate until a certain age. But what they did was Western society started making movies and shit that basically said that that's whack. That's what Coming to America was about. You notice how you have the original dark-skinned queen in Kemet, or in Zamunda, but then when you come to America, you had to get the queen, the light-skinned queen that bleached. Yes, Shari Hadley did bleach back in the days. I know, because my pops used to do publicity for her. So, again, niggas can't say what they want. When it comes down to it, we dealing with a lot of self-hating blacks. And these self-haters are the ones that's out there trying to stop you and block your evolution. They want to get too caught up in foreign wars that have nothing to do with where you are. You have to understand, when we talk about the state of something, we're talking about what the thing is. The state of something is different than the state or a state is different than the state of. So in that, all of these state of pseudo-municipalities that are forcing us into a compact coercion agreement to create a limited liability partnership between us and them. That time is about to be over. All bets is off after and on December 21st. That is the calculated end for the devil to be in this side of, not only North Central South America, but of all the noble governments in the world, all of the republics that was peopled by the original dark-skinned, melanated, kinky hair, copper-colored people. These people are now at the bottom of all of these countries that we see on TV every day. These were the same people that would denationalize globally with everybody, with all of us. But specifically, those of us over here did things to prevent that and find ways to reinstate us back to that glorious principle. Yet, that charge has been obfuscated based upon foreign Moors, right? Meaning people that's not from here coming in and telling you what a Moor is and what Morocco is, and you listening to that shit. Niggas could do 1,000 DVDs about how whack Moors are. That shit don't have nothing to do with me. That shit ain't got nothing to do with the truth or what the prophet and everybody was here to do. That ain't got nothing to do with it. You know what I mean? What has everything to do with everything is what I deem it relevant to be for me. You know what I mean? What's relevant to me? What makes sense to me? What does my soul and my spirit resonate with, as opposed to what it's, quote-unquote, supposed to resonate with based upon what everybody else that's supposedly melanated is supposed to be on. Yep. Well, we have it now, babe. I'm not complaining about it.
Daddy, can I taste it?
No, because I want it to come back. Because you'll leave it. So essentially it got into a part or into a phase of matter in which people and things started to create, where people just started to kind of have to adopt shit because there was nobody else backing them up. How many times have you, conscious Moors, been in situations where you ready to go to court and do your thing, and mad people tell you they're going to go with you, and then the day of the court shit, nobody there but you? That's why the devil feel he could do what he could do, because he know we don't have the real backing, or the backing we have is not unified, right? But unity don't mean that we all got to be together. Unity just mean that we agree about one thing that we're going to follow through on. That's it. It don't take everybody. It ain't going to be all black people in the world, because not all black people in the world was in the original autochthonous American Moorish governments over here. But see, what we had over here was a system that really, really worked, man. A system that was so intrinsic into the innate values of us as people that we were able to run with it and put it in such a context that it was unrivaled anywhere else in the world, man. You know what I mean? We had a system, or still do, and that's the point thing. We still got it. We just have not dealt with it in brass taxes, meaning in a direct, or what we say prima facie, on its face. We're dealing with what we think the accoutrements of it is. So again, there's the original state and the state of. Two different things. The original state of, like I said, is, the state of represents the corporate aspect. Yet corporations themselves are not necessarily evil. They weren't set out to be evil. It's not like the British Empire or the Holy Roman Emperors and all of them people, the Britannic Majesty and them, started out trying to necessarily control and destroy everything. You got to look at the epoch and time in which all this stuff happened. But in that, we had a centralized government. Like I said, there was a longhouse that existed in the whole state that went across the entire island of Manhattan. Do you hear what I'm saying? I'm still trying to get more remnants and evidence of this. But you get the oral history of this when you deal with certain elders that will pass it down to you. But when your grandmoms and your grandpops and them used to tell you shit like, you ain't no African, when you was wearing African medallions and all that type of shit, they should have took it one step further and be like, why? You're not no African. No, they just want to tell you the thing because they come from the era of secrecy. I told you. Don't ask me no questions that you know the answer to. So we had different aspects, right? We had the hunter-gatherers. In order to be into that, you had to be 21 to 24, 48 to 51, 75 to 78, or 102 to 105. This is how long we living over here. Then you had the dog soldiers. These were the ones who were dealing with the energy of coming forth by day. Those who attached to the wolf lodges, a.k.a. the Anubis lodges that existed out here. Right? To be in that, again, 24 to 27, 51 to 54, 78 to 81, 105 to 108. You had the men's lodge, right, which was going from ages 3 to 6, from 30 to 33, 57 to 60, 84 to 87. We had the Peace Chiefs Lodge, right, which was going from age 6 to 9, 33 to 36, 60 to 63, 87 to 90. We had the War Chiefs Lodge, where you went into that thing at 9 years old. This is equivalent to the Gogi or the Goji in the Zulu nation, where they bring you in. And that started from 9 to 12, 36 to 39, 63 to 66, 90 to 93. Then you had the singers and the mediums.
Come out here. Come out here.
So smart. It's just go outside, man. Just go outside and sit on the
outside. That's what I wanted you to do.
Then you had the singers and the mediums. This is going from ages 12 to 15, 39 to 42, 66 to 69, 93 to 96. You got the women's lodges, which is directly across from the men's lodge. That's when you start there at age 15, which means that women were not considered women until after 15 years old, not 13, the way the Ashkenazim Jews do. 13 was for the boys, 15 was for the girls. Knowledge, understanding builds culture, meaning 13, 1 and 3 equals 4, manifesting the culture of the boys, whereas the girls, you had to go through knowledge, the power, meaning 1 and 5 equals 6, which is equality, which is the number that represents woman. First and foremost, the devil second. This don't mean that the woman is a devil, but it means that the devil operates on the level of the woman. If you think I'm bullshitting or saying something erroneous or misogynistic, then why is it every black man that you done seen from Tupac even before him have been brought down by a woman? Couldn't no man stop him? You understand what I'm saying? Couldn't no man kill that brother? It had to come through a woman. The one thing that he was vulnerable, that we as black men are vulnerable to, because we grow up with only one. We only grow up with our moms in that sense. So in that, we feel like we got to be her husband. And there's some black women who put their sons in that position. And that retards their relationships in the future with actual women, because you expected every chick to be like your moms. And that's not true. So we had this thing worked out. Then after that, we had the council lodge, which was from, you had to be 18 to 21 to be in it. And that went from 45 to 48, 72 to 75, 99 to 102. And then in the middle of all of this is what they called the children's fire. This is from birth, from 0 to 3 years old, from 27 to 30, from 54 to 57, 81 to 84. So that means that even when we got to certain levels of the game in that, we still maintained a certain degree of childlike innocence that was supposed to be bestowed on us based upon how we worked our sacred hoop. But because they have disenfranchised us from our quote-unquote autochthonous heritage and want us to adopt some sort of native heritage, let's look. So you see for yourself. I did this on a DVD, on a private class we did on YouTube. You can check it out for Clearing the Cobwebs that obscure true moral science. But since we're here, let's get it in. Sovereign, right, which is a noun, which represents supreme ruler, monarch, is also an adjective, possessing supreme or ultimate power. The people's will is, in theory, sovereign. How can will be theory when will is evidence of action? In order for you to do something, you have to will it into being, meaning that you have to have the will to see it come to fruition. Therefore, we're talking about a direct action which is resolute. You understand? Meaning that there is no faltering. This is what I'm choosing to do. So sovereign on this end is cool, but it's not necessarily adding up to maybe what we want it to be. One, because they got it listed as a noun. A noun is a person, place, or a thing. How can a sovereign be a person? You see what I'm saying? Or a thing. You dig? A sovereign is sovereign. So let's move on. To something like native. Native is a person born in a specified place or associated with a place by birth, whether subsequently resident there or not. Don't that sound like the Native Americans? Ain't that what they are? They want you to believe that they was here before you. They want you to believe that they enslaved you just like the white man. Why? Because they are white people. These are the white folk that escaped slavery. These are the white folk that was out there that was getting brutalized on the plantation and the colonies and ran away into the woods and started living a jungle way of life because they was not originally from here. So those of us that took pity on them and remembered what aspects of the experiment they have been manifested from based upon our connection to the Yucatan Peninsula over here, we knew. So something had to be done. So we created situations and ways for these people to be taken care of in the future because we knew that our cousins and them over there wasn't going to do that for them because they was the ones allowing them to be brutalized. So at what point was this cracker ever really in control of everything? That's what I'm still trying to find out. Seemed like he really didn't come into the game until late. And I mean really late. Yeah, let me get this other joint. Wait. So, again, always trying to get us to adopt somebody else's foreign culture as opposed to just dealing with our own. And that was always or has always been a problem with us. Here we go. This is about the Lenape, the original Lenape. Nationality is very important to the identity of a person or people, see? And without it, they are nameless, faceless, parentless beings. Nationality is essential to Lene Lenape because the settlers once attempted to take it from them, causing the knowledge of themselves to be buried deep inside the family's history, so much so to the point that even members themselves in the new generation of the family did not remember for a very long time their original nationality. Who is that? That's us. The original Lenape, the original Moors of North Central South America, or Tonkinist. It was only when a 96-year-old Nanticoke Lenape woman brought the knowledge back to the surface, saying knowledge of a people cannot be learned from a book, and that the Lene Lenape people remember who they are. She made her grandson Cache Shechem, and the people have been living their Lenape life ever since. So again, when I say that when we look at the ancient myth of the black man rising out of the shallow grave, who was Hiram, who was Asar, who put us all back together, the woman did. The woman decided she wanted to be back in her goddess sense and then found a way to initiate the original man back into that. Half of the reason why black men feel so hard and so hateful and shit to women because they feel betrayed by women The same way women act like they betrayed by the black man, he the worst thing in the fucking world and shit. But everybody that act like the black man get a pass is the same way he feel isolated. He feel segregated to the point. Because we're the ones in the society that just don't give a fuck. We're the ones who not supposed to get perm. But now niggas are so broke in the mind. You got dudes going there in the beauty parlor getting their hair done and all that other type of shit. You got dudes willing to be women, willing to act gay. They're not even gay, but they will act gay just to get some sort of money. And then when they get the money, they scared to death to be with a certain black woman because they don't know how that's going to happen. Because all of these horror stories that you hear that black men talk about with black women, or black women who get with black men who are really actually good brothers and they're trying to be there for their kids, and the other baby moms is barbecuing. Or worse, you got the other tip. You got the black men now who, because they put themselves in situations to be under oath or obligation, they now only feel powerful like a man when they going upside a woman's head or some other type of shit, or just having mad babies with them. To the point where some dude, I forget what state this happened, but dude in the state, basically, the judge told this nigga, look, stop having babies, man. He told the man, stop having babies until you can figure out how to support them. But what I be peeping is, how come you're not telling the females that? If you the fourth or fifth female in the cipher, man, and this dude already got issues with the first females before you, why do you think it's necessarily going to be different? Because there's a secret, and this is what my great-grandmother told me, one of the only truthful things she told me, because she wasn't locking niggas in closets and shit. One thing she told me is that a real woman want a real man. However, once she get one, it now is about her understanding how to keep him, and him understanding how to let her keep him. You see? But no woman want a kept man, just like no man want a kept woman. So what does that all mean? All that means is when you step into somebody, most people nowadays are not themselves. Most people nowadays are the opposite of what they think or project the person want to be. So you have females that will prep other females based upon what they think the dude is like, but really they could just ask the guy what he wants and vice versa. This is because we are following the mating rituals of Proto-Neanderthal, Cro-Magnon, Negro, Araba, Javaro, super chimpanzees. That's what we're doing. We are emulating the relationships, the pseudo-relationships of habilis, of Homo habilis, basically. You understand? We are following the mating rituals. Remember how the caveman bust the chick on the head, right? He busts her on the head and drags her to the cave, and, oh, I love him, like we used to see on Pebble and Bam Bam Flintstone, all of that. All of that, again, that's basically what's going on now. You know what I mean? Keep it real. And in that, it has created a drastic gap, not only between the generations now, but from the gender. And once there's a split in the gender, where people start to look at gender as something, as an obstacle, what you are now starting to see is the destruction of the species mind pattern itself. Like I said, I could see 100 million. I could see mad pictures or whatever, these Moors from different places brutalizing and doing that, all that. But I see that every day in terms of police. What's the difference between Moors wearing fezzes and killing and shooting people in the Congo than Moors today becoming police officers or army people or whatever, going in there and stomping people's heads, blowing up people, babies, and all that shit? What's the difference? That ain't no different. But guess what? The people doing that, they ain't no more like me or like you. I don't see these people on the same level that I see somebody like Noble Joe Ali just because he wearing a damn fez. Just like I don't see a nigga pro-black and conscious just because he got red, black, and green. That shit don't mean nothing no more. What are you doing with that? Just because a nigga wearing a arc don't necessarily mean he know who our Kenton is. You know what I'm saying? Or most of that shit is accoutrement fashion now. And when you really are it based upon your true and original nationality, you don't have to worry about that. So, again, when I'm around, my people that may be on, the red, black, and green and all of that, and they start talking about black this and black that or whatever, I'm not necessarily going to come at them like they stupid or ignorant or somehow or another they don't want to have no nil nationality unless they tell me that. I may throw in, because I understand what they mean by that. But, again, if they wanted to be Moors, then they would know that that's not how they want, that that's maybe not the best title to, use for them. But it's not my job to force them to accept their true nationality. That's on them. That's why the Prophet did it like that, because he knew not everybody was going to be that. He knew that a lot of these niggas were going to get caught up in a lot of these fake movements that was going to come after him. And he almost wanted, I feel, not to say that I know the mind of the Prophet, but I almost feel like he wanted that. I feel like he wanted niggas to get caught up in wrong shit. So that way, those of us that really focus on the real shit, we wouldn't have them people around us. And that's smart. Like I said, back in the days, in the research I'm doing now, it seemed like all of these people was really working together, both wrong and right. And then you had a whole nother contingent of people now today who act like they're working together, and really everybody's getting different work orders from a different part of the organization. You know what I'm saying? And this becomes the issue. This becomes the problem for people, because when we talk about true unity amongst each other, to do that, we got to air out all of the shit that's keeping us apart. And in my view, the main thing that's keeping us apart is niggas just like doing shit the hard way. That's all. And we could just admit that about ourselves, yo. We might could get past a lot of the shit that's keeping us separate. Because the things that keep us separate are not as great as the things that actually unite us. But to be united, we have to take a stand about something. And everybody is taking a different stance or position when it comes to this liberation. Yet we're talking about a spiritual, a celestial and spiritual aspect of this, coming into its greatest ability to be seen and shared by all. Yet we're at the constant position to have to always catch up to shit that we don't already agree on. And behind that, all that's left is more confusion, and more of us that's trying to do it right is now feeling more and more isolated. Again, I'm giving an overview of the stuff that I've been seeing take place over the past, since this dude became president. So as much as he has these different things in play and in trust for people to do, it's still not helping everybody in general. Because this guy, again, is still an African-American. He's still a foreign president. You understand? He still is a foreign individual that's representing a corporation that has reached its level, its due date, basically. So, again, what we have to do is create more. Hold on a second. Oh, hey, what's up, man? I'm sorry, I'm doing the show. Hello? Yeah, hello? Yeah, G. So what happens is the more we put people in play to do shit and not do it in the proper fashion, the more we create different spaces for us, in a sense, to be ticked off. You know what I mean? Yet, to get where we need to go, everybody has to declare out of their own mouth, individually, what it is they want to be. You know what I mean? This is why we don't necessarily have the thing in play yet in terms of actually having, let's say, a console away like a traditional government would do. That's because people don't really understand what type of government the actual Moorish nationality as a thing. You want to know? Okay. You want to see it tomorrow? Yeah. Okay. All right, guys. Yeah, like 12:30 is good. Okay. Nah, and they create a state where they don't really know how to function from that perspective. So what we have to start to do, like I said, when it comes to this understanding, is allow that understanding to crescendo, meaning well up in the spirit and the body of those people that want to do that. You know what I mean? We really have to do the knowledge because our history is still here. Our original real history that's connected to you here, to America, is here. It's just that we have been taught that America is our enemy, but it was not America. It is the United States specifically, and those foreign entities that came to flip up our own inter-clan or inter-tribal or inter-society dealings, because some of us started partaking in slavery, started to enslave each other. Ain't that what's going on right now? You have to remember, unlike a lot of so-called black leaders, if you want to say that, or Asiatic leaders, what made Noble Drew Ali so significant was the fact that he was not born in America. He was not born in the United States. He was born on a Cherokee reservation. And remember, Cherokee held the dominant Mohawk position in the original Algonquin, Iroquoian, Siouan, Hiawatha, Dagandawa Confederacy that led to the establishment of the Continental Congress in the family of nations and in General Congress assembled. So what this means is that when he was born on the Cherokee reservation, he was basically born a true American, meaning an American. Because he came from one of the last eras where true prophets and true Moors were being groomed to take these positions of world power the way we always had. This devil was given a certain amount of time to run and be rambunctious in the world. He was loosed in the world for 1,000 years. This is the 1,000 points of light that George Bush was talking about. Right? This is the 1,000-year Reich that Himmler was talking about in the Black Sun Society, in the Thule Society. Both societies set up by the Kaisers. The original Kaisers were the rulers of the Bavarian Holy Roman Empire, which led to the establishment of the Iron Cross of the Habsburg Legion, what they also called the Hanseatic League. You're talking about big money. You're talking about the original three tribes, the Douglases, the Pictish, and the Scotians or the Colchians, created the dominant bloodstream or bloodline for those Holy Roman emperors, going all the way back, even before Charlemagne, another black man. But because we see these niggas in petticoats and all that on TV now, we totally disassociate ourselves from that. Whenever you got somebody that's always promoting how whack and how much of a slave and how diseducated and how much disease and all this shit you got all the time, come on, man. What they say in Shakespeare, he said, methinks thou dost protest too much. You understand? Meaning, you're saying a lot of shit that you don't need to say to convince me that you about this when it's really the opposite. So this don't mean, like I said, that every nation or every autonomous nation that began to bang and fight each other was with it like that. But it is to say that this is what led to the battles that happened between us. The Civil War with the Cherokees and all that shit was going all the way back to like 1854, really. But by that time, you had the mixed, amalgamated so-called white people who are now claiming Cherokee nationality, and they trying to say that all the dark and their elders and all that these people was ex-slaves. But again, get the book, Confederate Cherokees, John Drew's Regiment. It will tell you that they was already in it. We even put up shit to deal with the fact that they was using Freemasonry, to get in to break down the original key to our society, our original masonry that was already here from time immemorial. That they put in strategic laws against that to stop niggas from doing that. We was enslaved with so many people that there was laws against blacks or Moors, only Christian slaves in the 1600s, 1700s, late 1800s, mid 1800s. This is from the book. In 1855, Chief John Ross discovered the emergence of a secret society organized in Delaware in the Saline districts, dedicated to the promotion of slavery and the removal of the abolitionist interests from the Cherokee Nation. Forming the core of this sinister plot were members of so-called Blue Lodges, Freemasons, that had been organized by the Grand Lodge of Arkansas. The Grand Lodge of Arkansas was being used effectively in the promotion of pro-Southern efforts in Kansas and Oklahoma from Arkansas. Many of the pro-slave factions in the Cherokee Nation had ties to the Arkansas Lodge. John Ross, a Freemason himself, believed that these elements were spreading pro-slavery messages amongst the Blue Lodges within the Cherokee Nation. Some of these members of the Blue Lodges later formed the Knights of Pythias, which then became the Knights of the Golden Circle, which then became the Ku Klux Klan, an organization that functioned somewhere in the blurred reaches between Freemasonry and the KKK. The Constitution of the Knights of the Golden Circle, as chartered on August 28, 1860, said no person, see, they're already making free Moors now persons by them joining us with this fake order, right? No person shall become member of the Knights of the Golden Circle in the Cherokee Nation who is not a pro-slavery man, meaning who is not willing to enslave these Slovenians, Christian slaves, as well as African POWs that they bring in over here from the breakdown of the empires over there. This is in 1854. Remember, they didn't go to the Civil War until 1865, right? 1854, yeah. This is 1855. They talking about this. But the Civil War didn't pop off till like 1860, 1861, somewhere between 61 and 65. So what that tells me is that these Freemason crackers or whatever didn't get into the game until they got raised up by these so-called Cherokees that was trying to promote aspects of slavery through, which resulted in the denationalization of the original Sadagi or Charatagi, meaning keepers of the sacred fire, peoples. Because now the United States, that we in a sense allowed, mandated, created to look out and protect our interests from foreign powers coming over here and flipping shit, is now being usurped. So within that, what I'm also showing you, one, again, Noble Drew Ali, peace be upon him, grew up on the original Cherokee reservation, so he already knew the whole history of that shit. So this man, then from there, what, goes to Brooklyn, then from Brooklyn to Jersey, then from Jersey back to Chicago, and from Chicago to Kemet, and from Kemet to Asia, Syria, all types. This is what they did. That's one good thing about the railroads that the robber barons set up, is that it created a cross-channel where you can get to these places a lot quicker and reestablish these ancient ties. Because it used to be when people saw an American in 17, 16, or 13, early 1700s or whatever, 1800s, they saw original people, black people like me and you, fellas and all that type of stuff, feathers and all that. After the Civil War, an American was represented by these big Buffalo Bill type dudes. You know what I'm saying? Jefferson and these type of Freemason dudes that are now being put in play by us, in a sense, so that way we can refortify our shit and not have to worry about the encroachment of these foreign powers, because this thing is people by the people that we help free. So like I said, these people got into the Civil War late, man. Their part of the Civil War should be referred to as the Civil Servant War. Because as the civil servants, they were the ones put in position to administer how things was really supposed to go. And they dropped the ball on that because they saw their chance to come up. And then they blackmailed all them other Moors in the state and it flipped it. And then ever since then, they've been working in tandem together to create this so-called animosity. There's evidence to show that the original Ku Klux Klan had a membership of over 20,000 black people. What's up with that? But this is back when it had the crescent and the star on it. So again, just because these Moors happen to be dirty don't mean that all Moors dirty. Just because this so-called African dirty don't mean all Africans dirty. It don't mean that. But it does mean that the time has now come in which all of this stuff is about to come to bear, what they call the Great Reckoning. And so to combat that and get rid of as many of us as possible, they're doing another purge. But this purge in their pseudo-satanic religion, Christian religion, is called culling, the Great Culling. That's why the family in Twilight is called the Cullens, right? Because a culling or a culling is when you shear down the herd, when you kill off the excess amount of sheep and all of that. So if this is what applies to us and how they see in all of the stateless person, this is how they operate. So the Declaration actually puts you in a better position because at least there's something on record that says that you have declared what your original nationality is. When you say American, like the great Dr. Yaffa Bey points out, you are saying more, but you being specific as the type of more you are, the original Bey and L of the country who was basically put in a protection of this universal trust that gets access based on how you declare yourself. But everybody is looking for what was created to throw everybody off of that, which is the UCC Contract Trust, which is what was brought to you by who? The Patriots. And what are the Patriots? They're all old Knights of Pythias, right? Knights of the Golden Circle, who are part of an order. The Knights of the Golden Circle, why they call them that, is because they're talking about the circle of influence that existed in terms of where the original treasures was buried and hidden after or right before the start of the Civil War. And those Confederate so-called white Freemasons who were put in play to hold where the keys of where all of this treasure and all this stuff is to this day. That's why Noble Jew Ali said, I'm going to leave the European around long enough to show you how to run a government. But what I'm also seeing is that by that he also means, based on how they're doing it, he's also, their incompetence is really showing us how not to run a government. Now, people don't notice when he filed stuff, he filed it as Timothy Drew, but the beneficiary and the grantor and all of that attached to that was Noble Jew Ali. So again, he's using both aspects of his corporate and religious self in the transference of what it is he was bringing about. Which is why, again, he called it a divine national movement. Because we are, again, the descendants of the original creator, the people of the first soul, the soul of man, of which they had to create a ritualistic order to embody us. That's how much they revered our genetics and revere our genetics to this day. But this sphere of influence, if you look at Cuba in its beginning, or where Cuba's position, let's say going all the way to Venezuela, from Venezuela, all of the Gulf of Mexico, all the way up to what is now New York and Vermont. If you make a circle around, all the way around that area into the Caribbean, basically where the Dominican, encompassing the Dominican Republic, Trinidad, Puerto Rico, Cuba, Jamaica, Belize, Panama, Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, half of Mexico, the Gulf of Mexico, all the southern states up to New York, let's say Vermont. That is the Golden Circle. And that sphere of influence is where all of this stuff was buried. That's what the movie Book of Secrets and all that, National Treasure, all that stuff is about. These Confederate soldiers who were brought up under the red banner of the Zouave Moors, who was put over them as a deal through the Vatican and what is now Spain, and some of the Moorish dominions over here, that they would provide troops to the effort of fighting the United States. And in the context of that, they would be able to, a certain amount of the population, indigenous population, would agree to be converted. This is why you see people with feathers and all of that, and turbans in the Civil War. Because remember, we was all kings over here. There was whole different empires over here. You had the Moundia, you had Alomaricanos, you had the Iroquois thing that kind of mediated between all of those, and then all of the sub-nations within that. The Creek, the Cree, the Sagamore, the Lenape, the Wabanake, all of these people. So after the attack on Montezuma, see, Montezuma was like the emperor, let's say, of the whole thing. So everybody would come to build with the King of Kings. And so when he fell, they broke down that original complex and built that church that exists in the square in Mexico today on top of it by using the same bricks and all of that. These were Moriscos that broke that down. So when that broke down, all of the individual nations now that were loosely affiliated through this trade route organization between the different empires and kingdoms that was here was now isolated with themselves. And then other nations started making deals, foreign Moorish nations like from Albion and from what is now Spain started trying to come over and do the same thing to then get Algonquin people to denationalize. So by the time that the marriage went down with the Washita and all of that, that's when it switched up, because now they had a foothold in how we were to operate with each other. It was the Treaty of San Lorenzo, 1795, you know what I mean, as well as the Picnic Treaty that reestablished what they call the 31st parallel, which was the southern boundary at the time of the United States and America. You know what I mean? Also that the Spanish, or when we say Spanish, we're saying Moorish, Grenadian type of Moorish factions was now trying to switch the jurisdiction of the Moors in the lands over here in places like New Spain or whatever to the jurisdiction that from their Pontific's jurisdiction to now this jurisdiction where Isabella Ferdinand is their king. Isabella actually came back around and realized her folly in the destruction of the Moors and tried to do it, and then what her husband did was ditch her and then hooked up with the Catholic, who then started the purge in what they call the Reconquista. Well, this is after the Reconquista, what led to the so-called Renaissance, where they started taking all of the artifacts that they was doing and putting their names on it and all of that. So again, the whole purpose has always been to get us to denationalize again ourselves in that way where we are no longer fully represented as ourselves, you know. And so the more we strive to get things on a basis where we can continue our true evolution, we are now been put in situations to be in even deeper combat amongst each other based upon all the different ideologies which represent nationalities, both foreign and domestic, that are vying for your vote to be what you use to govern your new world. And so the way of creating a specific spark within us is automatically challenged by whatever the new mode of intellectual combat is today. You know what I mean? And all that really does is throw us further away from the point of realizing that you could still be all of that. You can still be everything that you want. But unlike a lot of other leaders and stuff, this leader has already done things that really still work. And if applied properly in a ratified position, would actually be much easier to assimilate into than staying in the current situation we're all in. Yet to do that, you have to accept the fact that, yes, the Moors did fall, but prior to that fall, there were millions of years in which we weren't. And so the minuscule time that we have been in this amnesiatic state is nowhere by comparison to negate the actual things that we did to bring us all as human beings to this point. We are the ones that preserved it, so much so that the same people who act like they were the ones that was there when they kicked us out is dressing up like us every year. And when you look at those costumes, you see that Arabs never dressed like that. When you see so-called Arabs and Bedouins and stuff dressing with gold and all that, those are the Moors of Africa, of the Tuareg, of these different nations. But remember, like I said, the Moors, there was a universal or global denationalization campaign that fomented into us having to create the United States for America, which then got corrupted into the United States Incorporated, which then got incorporated into the United States of America. So once you know the difference between what state you are in, you know that you are always a perpetual advocate of that state. So the state you reside in is not whatever state that you're domiciled, you know what I mean? The state that you are domiciled in is not the state that represents you. That's the person or the term state that they are using to justify their existence as a country. The state that you live in is the original state of your forefathers. Therefore, the true state of man is that of God, because our ultimate forefather is the one great God Allah, Leg, manifested as Leg, Head. You know what I mean? In which that leads us to create physical representations of that glory by perfecting the first temple we're born into, which is our body, as well as then the lodge, the grand lodge, we'll call the earth that we live into to perfect the greater soul of man. So the first initiation, or the only initiation you really go through in life is birth and death. And so the death codes and the fixation death codes were really those codes to teach you how to navigate through them based on using the archetype of Anubis. But over here, Anubis was the wolf. So, again, everything is as above, so below. This is how we've always governed our world and our society. So to continue to do it in that fashion is the best way to manifest, you know what I mean? But to get back to that, the woman, I think, has to know that she, when they say she's the backbone of the family, me personally, I wouldn't say that. I would say that she is the direct balance. But her influence is that of material world in total, or in total. So that means that she is the gatekeeper and portal for whatever they need to present and make real to human beings in the world. So if she is taking bleaching pills, and she is altering her body to look like some sort of cyborg, and that means that she is going to project that and says that this is what the woman, the child, and the boy and the girl have to emulate. This is the role they have to play. The same way you have a little girl and you give her a baby doll, that's the way the species has developed to teach the nurturing aspects of gender to child. But when you start giving a doll to the boy instead of giving him a quote-unquote action figure, you see what I'm saying? You are equating him to the feminine role or opposite gender that doesn't represent him. You see? Because Caucasian people hate gender, because gender is why they are in the recessive state. This is why they can only create to what people would call white people or whatever they call themselves, people like that, together, where if they marry or have a baby with anybody else, that baby takes on the dominant trait of the melanocyte that exists in the race that was created prior to them. But we don't want to deal, or humanity doesn't want to deal with the whole Yakut thing, because that would then have to get into the hierarchy of man, and they don't want to deal with it. Nature has no problem with hierarchy. Western society does, and specifically the Caucasian male does. The Eurasian. I think that's another thing. We got to get the real clarification for that, because apparently in some of the texts that I'm reading now, it's saying that a Caucasian is actually a Push-Asian. You know what I'm saying? Caucasus meaning the group apart, and Asian or Asiatic being the people. And those people who are the products of this experiment, if we agree that it did exist and does exist, it's still going on, are the so-called beneficiaries of this whole thing, of that whole epoch. And so the secret that they're guarding is the true origins of their race, which is why they had to get into the thing and infiltrate the black sun and all of that to be able to retard the process of those nobles who had already bleached themselves out. You know what I'm saying? And now with the new killing of the ritual killing of the nanny for what's her name, Kate Middleton, that ritual essentially was one to again promote and produce their new Antichrist. But the process of her maybe producing both twins may actually not be good. So it might be another type of ritual in which the goddess, I don't want to say what happens, but in which the goddess is sacrificed so that way the twins may live. But essentially that's what they did with Diana. You know what I'm saying? So you got to watch out. Anybody who takes that role, that position, is always working with that. Because these people are essentially a sex death cult. All this Art Basel shit down here. We saw Rakim, you know what I mean? It was really dope. But, the people promoting hip-hop, real hip-hop, or allegedly doing it, you know what I mean, are totally different than the people we started out doing it with, or, you know what I mean, in August, when I was listening to Move the Crowd and all of that, like, totally different. Because, again, these people he was making records by places I was always at. We was at Obi Square Mall and all of that. These things are conceptual ideas in the minds of the generations, especially the Caucasian ones that follow. You see? So this stylized and grandialized version of our culture and history is being retarded now through the hip-hop thing. And we're participating in it by devolving the art form or amalgamating it so much that it's no different than anything else. That's why you see the killing of all of these black celebrities. There's an epidemic of black celebrity killings, and they're blaming it on things like these people are mentally ill and all of that. All of these things that we are doing to ourselves or allowing ourselves to be done are evidence of those aspects of us that don't want to see the new time come into view. And so the woman is the gatekeeper. The black man is the original black man is the key holder, just like in Ghostbusters. But they tell you can't cross the streams. You can't have two phalluses clashing. See what I'm saying? They was giving you high science in that, because that's the alternate form. Because when you cross the streams, it alters the energy of the intent. So it's split between two potentialities, where when it's man and woman, the gatekeeper and the keymaster, they're able to open it up so Zoser can come through. Wasn't Zoser a Moorish pharaoh, or Pomeranian pharaoh, who they built the Saqqara pyramid to? That was the same pyramid that you see in the original drawing of the pyramid that's put on the dollar bill. It's actually a step pyramid. It's not a clean, smooth pyramid that you see on the dollar bill today. The one that John Hanson approved, John Hanson Bay. But these Moors are not dealing in their true nationality. So everything that this guy in the White House is doing, he's basically doing as a contracted servant, you see. So as much as he has jurisdictional influence, it's only jurisdictional to those people who are subject to him. We are not. But what has not happened is the establishment of something that we have that is equivalent to our own, so that way we can enforce our own protection. That's what we are missing. Every other ethnic group has its own inner protection mechanism, but quote-unquote original black Americans do not. We had those things, but those things are now called gangs, or reduced to things called gangs, which are not in their original purpose or function, which is why they can be altered and influenced into sex and death cults. Blooding in and having to have sex with everybody in the clique to get in and all of that is Golden Dawn ritual. Even the symbols, the hex alpha, the 5-pointed star, the 6-pointed star, the male and the female, all of that is Asar, Aset, Nimrod, Semiramis, you know what I mean? Tammuz, Tiamat, sex magic, done in the quote-unquote vulgar sense. But the high enlightened spiritual aspect is still there, yet we don't access it because we haven't kind of forgot that we could even do that, based upon denationalization, which led to demonic possession, which then led to alien abduction, which then led to, and all of that from the amnesia that we were already scheduled to go through. That was predicted at the end of the Dark Age. So now that we have reached the end of the 25,000-year cycle, the first day of new history being December 22nd, Deuce, representing culture, this is, again, the time that is beneficial to all of humanity to enter the jump codes to restart a Merkaba. And so all of these things are done for you or to get you, for those people who are in the industry who listen and act like they don't and all of that. When you engage in these sex rituals that was going on in Art Basel and places like that, what you're doing is sullying your own energy and opening it up so much. And then the intent is really for money and power, so it's not even anything spiritual. You open it up so much that you are dulling the initial light that was given to you by the very original creator that you have now denied to gain earthly power. Once you gain ultimate spiritual power, the earthly power comes slower because this reality is not built for that right now. Yet the boundaries that keep people like real people from coming up and the fake people from getting on is now coming to the end. That's why all their records and stuff is all about that. All of their movies and stuff is about that. In my book, I wrote about After Earth, and now I see there's a movie called After Earth, so I got to check the copyright on it because when I wrote about this 3 years ago, and it happens to star Will Smith and his son, an original man and his son, again. But this is them in the future now. The first movie was when they was in the past broke. This is now, they survivors now, landing on places they call it After Earth. But in my book, After Earth was basically the representation of the original state that we all go into, those of us that choose to. And so the appointment of the original republic in the original jurisdiction, which is God's original jurisdiction, then creates the stamina for us to create the long-term ability of putting all of it back together. And they are then bound to step aside and let that happen. The problem is the rogue factions within their whole system has decrepit to such a degree that they're basically purporting that they're not going out without a fight, see? So a lot of the banking laws and stuff that they're trying to institute and stuff are just really smokescreens for the fact that they're negotiating their surrender. But they don't really have a full option to do so. So they put puppets out there like Ben Fulford and Alex Jones and these people who all really work for them and work in tandem for them because these are all, again, white Freemasonic males who exist in this great albino brotherhood that was initially founded to preserve the original secret, you see, that was then passed on. But the people who initially set this up for them was people that looked like us, all to fully denationalize all of us. Same way where you could be, so-called Black American, and you go amongst a group of all Haitians or all Spanish people, dark skin or whatever, and they start talking their language around you and shit, you don't really know. Looking at you laughing and shit. Like, these black women don't even know when they in these nail salons how they go in on you in their language and how they wearing a mask and you sitting there, no mask there with your child. Look and see how many of their children be there when they doing that, unless they teaching them how to do it. Because everybody has made a national fortune on us. So what that means is the national debt is the debt that is owed to the original nationals, to the original people. Understand? That's the money that belongs to all of us that already was here. And that's the money that they don't want to give back to everybody. See what I'm saying? And that's the money that's owed to us, to you, to me, to all of us, to be able, again, to get back to our original status. You know what I'm saying? But the problem, like I said, is we haven't gotten to the ability to get on. Sorry, I'm trying to press the thing to get the guest we had tonight on, but for some reason, not participating. How funny is that? I'll try again. Interesting. You know, I'm trying to get our guest on for tonight, but doesn't seem to be happening. Yeah. But this is what I mean. You know what I mean? Things like this are, or they try to make things like that a staple, you know what I mean, in the experience of doing it as a means to discourage. Because, see, the devil can't stop you from what you're doing. He can only delay the inevitable, you know what I'm saying? So the diligence, the wandering of 40 days and 40 nights, that's the 40-40 cycle, basically has come to an end. Yeah, I hear you, homie, but I'm trying to get it in. I hear you on the other line, homie, but I can't click over my phone and stuff. It won't let me do that. But that's how it comes into it, you know. Yeah, so these protocols and things were already set in motion prior to us getting here. And so based on that, a national or worldwide debt basically was created in which the nationals had to be paid back due to the debt incurred by the rest of the world for the benefit of our freedom. This is what the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier is about in Washington, D.C. This is an illusion or an allegorical representation of those who gave their lives so that they all or their ancestors could now be free, could now live the life that we had lived up until the point that they got here. You understand? The sacrifice that we made, your and mine ancestors made, into the descent of madness of our people to get to the lowest levels of it based upon us not sticking to our original creed. Not saying that the stuff that they was dealing with over in the old world wasn't popping, because, again, we were all from the same planet, but there are different types. And after the split, a lot of us that's here from America were the refugees of Mu and Lemuria specifically. Whereas a lot of the remnants of what's called Africa were the people coming from Kandal, Kamari, and the other so-called conjoined landmass that created what we now today call Mesopotamia. You know, yet they don't even call that region Mesopotamia anymore. You see? Therefore, the ability to destroy culture through language has become the dominant aspect of control, even more so than the gun. Because once you denationalize and declassify the American Indian so that he is now referred to as nigger predominantly, it's created the aspect for us now not to be recognized anymore as a people. And therefore, other members that look like us could come over here and do their thing. That's why they're also so hard on the Haitians, because the Haiti Empire, or the Empire of Haiti, that was also like the Empire of the Maroons and all of that, for all of those islands that they now give the credit to the Taino and all that, which they say were the progenitors. So what they're trying to say is that the mixed people was there first, and the dominant couple of people there came second, and then somehow or another disappeared the mixed people. So what are they saying? They're saying that black, dark-skinned people from Africa came over there and had sex with all of the women, and then with the white slave women, I guess, too, that they was forbidden to be with, and then somehow created a false representation of them. And then somehow or another, these so-called Taino Indian people and Arab people were just now gone. Well, if that's the case, how come that you don't call that place West Africa? Why are you calling it the West Indian? Especially when we know that the term American Indian, and this is part of the Americas, isn't the Caribbean islands a part of the Avenue of Americas in New York? So that's America. So in that, all of those were part of an aspect of the Moors that was over here that had boats and stuff. Whenever I see pictures of Tucson, these people are just like admirals. But they always use the word slave to describe him. Yet what I'm starting to see is that they've been playing a game on us from the very beginning. The flag that they're showing you is the French flag, right, or is the so-called flag of France, is not. That's actually the Haitian flag, just split up. They both red, white, and blue. But because, remember, the French were in league with the Watankanis Washita. So them, by marriage, put them under the designation or the rulership of the Corsican, Napoleon. So as that, subjects of Napoleon, their flag, or the Haitian flag, prior to the overall consumption of Haiti, was blue, white, and red, with the Corsican Moorish head in the middle. After now, the French sells Louisiana and now hands over the reins of the infiltration of the Haitian people, the ongoing war against the Haitian people, to the new United States government. They get Frederick Douglass to be the first ambassador to go there and build with Desaulniers and them and try to get them to get the head off of it, of which then becomes part of the Corsican image. But then when you look at the flag of Sardinia, it's the same head, but only now it's 4 heads. So we got the same head, Moorish head, on the original flag of Haiti, the flag of Corsica, the flag of Sardinia, right, with the same cross, red cross of St. George associated with it that you see in some of the so-called militia flags of what they call Bunker Hill, that we today will call the Continental flag. Because there's some images of it where it has the tree in the corner, and then the cross is in the canton. The tree is smaller, and the cross is in the canton. This represents the union of those Franciscan Moors that were working with the original Moors here, and that's why that flag was blue. So these transitions of power and all of that, and adoption and denationalization became the apex for people to fund their expeditions over here to try to gain first access to these kingdoms that was already here in the rainforests and the places like that, that was not really dealing with any of the internal strife that these Holy Roman Emperor inspired Moors, as well as barbarous Moors, was bringing over here. And then those nations of us that was over here that was doing business with them was then adopting aspects of their ways, but conflicted against how we was already doing shit over here. So all of that became a problem. The same problems that we're dealing with today. And now you have more and more of these wild white people roaming in packs up and down the Midwest, you know what I'm saying, claiming land that's not really theirs, you see what I'm saying, but now using the term Indian, being that they was put on by the original American Indians, us, of Alamadacanos, the Altontons, people that was always here, but we was now getting caught up in all the foreign trinkets and stuff we was dealing with over there. The same way you see niggas now flashing and all of that with the money and the chains. It's the same way niggas was doing back then amongst their own people, right? Throwing money in their own people's face like that's helping them. And saying that, well, I'm inspiring people by doing it. But yeah, but you also mocking them. You also telling them that they're not as good as you anymore. Isn't that what most rap be about? It used to be rap was like, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm that, I'm dope, I'm fly, I'm fresh. Now it's you whack, you corny. I'm going to take your girl. You ain't nothing. You ain't shit. You see what I'm saying? It's become an external abuse tirade put to a beat that everybody is kind of cool with, and the more ignorant, the more it's like cool. But I tell you this, I'll take really good ignorant rap over real whack conscious rap any day. You see what I'm saying? That's how real I am with myself. So that way I don't trip and try to, like, justify why I should support something or form of music or whatever that's really mediocre. And people may say that about me. But, again, at least I'm doing it. You know what I mean? To my ability, but not so much to be at the level of this or that, but to be at whatever level I could get to. Doing what I do, you see? Which, again, is now empowering the I, but the I is then the we, and the we is then the you and the I. The I in the pyramid. The I in the pineal gland, or what they call the wadget that they try to tell you is evil, but it's actually in your brain. How is it evil if it's in my brain? If I slice my brain open and look at the very core in the cerebellum, it's in the exact same shape as the Eye of Ra. So how is that satanic? It's only satanic if the brain is satanic. But satanic magic is only as old as the cracker could learn to read. You understand? It's not real. It ain't older than voodoo. It ain't what voodoo taught Toussaint and what Toussaint brought to the people. But then once they brought the missionaries through there, again, through the Civil War, through the Zouave Guard, which, again, were corrupted by the Jesuits, because the Jesuits trained them how to deal with us over here. Because the Jesuits loaned themselves out to the Moorish nobilities over there and said, well, give us your guards and we'll train them how to deal with the original people over here, instead of just letting them deal with us directly. Because on one level, they wasn't on the level to deal with us like that, based upon how much devilishment that they had already been into from the Battle of Tours and going all the way before that, the Crusades and all that other shit. But during all of that time, this was the respite. This was the place where we would basically do that. You see these movies and these niggas be fighting in the night suits, and then they fall asleep and they wake up in Elysium. This is where they would wake up. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm trying to get the brothers in, but for some reason it's not letting me open the call lines tonight. It's all good. We're going to make it happen. Apologies to the brothers. We're going to get you back on once we deal with small talk and a thing. Interesting. Working. Wait, let me see. Please, you want to Super Radio? Hello? Please, can you hear me?
You right now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, peace, brother. My bad. Yeah, just got in. I just got off the other line. I'm sorry. My name is my name is Malcolm Jarrell Burton Bay. I represent the Moorish Divine National Movement of the World, and I'm here as far as to get a program started as far as with the architect of civilization. That is a woman by itself.
Indeed.
A lot of Moors that I see, they can't. It's a lot of things. As far as myself, I couldn't understand what was the dynamic of what created civilization for any nation, and the more I grew in light, the more I grew in knowledge, the best advice as far as that people gave it to me was women. And the best people that I learned from is women. And I think that women can prosper and can progress and be more proactive than reactive in this current state right now. And because, the feminine energy is rising, and thus feminine energy is stronger than masculine energy, I'm just here to serve my cause as far as to bring something to the women so that they can use. And as me being a man, the only thing that I'm here for is to protect and to make women feel as safe and strong as possible and as beautiful as possible. So that's my mission as far as that. But I have a plan as far as with the global impact of United Nations. I was appointed to the position, I think, November 8th. I'm just a network marketer. I'm just trying to get people, especially women that has businesses or women that's low impoverished and they want to, grow their businesses and their other, build other, constituents worldwide, and, to coincide with their community, and everything that stays in that community. And the community that I have in mind for the project is a community that's for mothers and their children, and they'll be as far as with the program at that, with the community of the program, which is called the Mothers Entrepreneurship, that they'll get trained extensively for 2 months. I'm finding right now, I'm still finding the people that I need as far as with the trades, and I know that the people as far as the body was dealing with the coordinator because I'm the director. I'm just the one that makes sure that people get paid right, are these mothers, what I'm saying, getting trained good, are their children has free health care, because that's what I'm all about. A lot of people with this program right now, it's dealing with the stock market, it is, but I see it as an opportunity, what I'm saying, to open up something, to use. So, like they say, the only way to change the game is to play the game. So I'm using that. Like I said, I'm advocating free health care, comprehensive general medicine. Cuba's medicine is especially school, but its medical sector is the most developed, most off the chain.
World.
And you know what? And what it is, it's a politics with that too. It's describing for people to heal, for treating wellness instead of treating sickness. And and just like the doctors by themselves, they go from the morning, from 8 to lunchtime 12, and people go in and say their illnesses or whatever. From after 2 to 3 or 4, they go and check the neighborhood. They are with the family. They represent the family. They're here to prevent diseases before they excel.
Indeed. The real Cubans,
and then
the real shit.
Yeah,
they the truth, man.
Yeah, and that's the only divine hero I've seen that's left in this world. That kept his word. Was Fidel Castro.
Right.
He's not part of Illuminati. Right. Everything that country is 100%. Dependent. That's the only part of America that I've seen is more developed. Especially with nature, with people. With women, because the women are the dominators in any sector as far as economics or education, and I'm just trying to progress that because the same BS is going on, with the women here, whether they don't even, whether they are the drive as far as, because, a man, a company hire a woman, before a man anyway, but what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to train women so that they can get jobs that's not only deal with this current state where you just go home and you work, I'm trying to do something that you can go and you can excel in, where you can do the international trading, where you can not only do business here in America, you can do business abroad, as far as just dealing with here in America, in Latin America and the Caribbean, because they got emerging markets. And they don't have people because I know there's a lot of people in Miami metropolitan area that know how to trade. They got certain things that they sell. You know, they don't know how to sell like that. They're trying to get to that point, and you know, it may not seem like, you know, a lot of people that's not, you know, educated at college or whatever, but that's not the case. If you have something that, you know what I'm saying, that you're skilled in, you know, and you have the mind for it, and if you have the mind or heart for it to be healed by it, because it's a healing process that has to go on with that, because, you know, putting a woman, you know, from a good situation, and she was from a bad situation, you know, it's a healing thing that she got to, you know, go through in order to reach that fact, because there's so much drama, so much
to not bring
that good
out here,
like, you know,
all the bad energy from the last one.
Yeah. So, you know, just like, you know, certain sisters I want for the organization, you know, that's healers, you know, that can, you know, speak to them, you know, that can talk to them, you know, that can, not necessarily get a psychic evaluation, but, you know, like I said, the same thing, same bullshit like going on here.
A spiritual representation or spiritual, kind of like what the Scientologists do, but for real, like really dealing with the core issue without machines and mind control, having to worry about this person trying to take advantage of you with the information you're giving them. That's the whole issue. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So also, Cuba's a very favored nation. Based upon that is where the Prophet received the whole mandate for all of the territories and put all of the territories in America in a specific trust for us based upon his universal understanding of what was going on. And ever since then, they've been on some shit in Cuba. They try to turn it into the brothel and all of that other type of shit, you know what I mean? Even before Castro, when the mob and shit came down there through OSL, and all of that, acting like they fighting Nazis, whether they bringing the Nazis there. So, how could people get in touch with you, or mothers specifically that are interested, get in touch?
Oh, you can
check out the information.
Yeah, you can get in touch with me at malcolmburden@rocketmail.com. Oh, it's MALCOLM. Oh yeah, let me go. MALCOLMBURDEN@rocketmail.com. That's ROCKETMAIL.com. And my Facebook page is www.facebook. I think it's /MasterAsia. Yeah, that's Master. Yeah, so or on my Facebook, I changed my name because I had to change my. I had to get more serious. I had to switch it over up. My name on this Darrell Issa Osar Burden Bay, and it's DURRELLEISA space AUSAR space BURDEN-Bay. So, I'm trying to, the website for it, we're trying to get an English version right now. The website for it is humanity.org.ve. B as in boy, VE. So, because the headquarters of it is in Caracas, Venezuela. So, letting you know at the basis that, this ain't like something to get up here. I'm connecting with people that's practicing, the same thing I'm trying to help people with. So, and like I said, this is just, a point to where that we can move and we can have things how it's supposed to be, because no nation respects a nation without an economy.
Flag on nationality, or an economy.
Yeah,
right.
And there you go. And nationality, especially for, especially for who you are, they got to know who you are, got to know who they do business with or whatever. But, just, instance in Cuba, a lot of people don't know that Cuba was in the Revolutionary War, and that it was only a point. It was 0.1% of people that was fighting in the war, and most of them was landowners.
That's what I mean. There was Moors fighting against the encroachment of these foreign Moors, trying to get them to reduce their nationality. This was also called the Spanish-American War. And when they came back, when these Moors came back, their lands had been seized by the United States government, and they had been redeclared Negroes and been put out by the now Union soldiers that were now declaring them as contraband. And this was the Negro slavery that started to manifest itself afterwards, that culminated in 1899 in what they call the Wilmington Race Riot, where they established the Knights of Pythias and Ku Klux, and Knights of Pythias and Golden Circle joined and became the Klan, and waged the genetic war now against the black people, because they were working with the Germans, the white Germans, who was up at Montauk now at this time, working on the eugenics shit.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, they had this chick Blavatsky again, and Besant and Alice Bailey and the rest of these niggas basically trying to infiltrate what the Moors was teaching people like Edward Casey and everybody else. You know what I'm saying? So, again, Cuba is very significant also. A lot of the pictures we see of the Moors with feathers in that war, or those pictures come from either what was going on in France or what was going on in Cuba. You know, so again, can you say the name of what the actual project and the collective is, just to reiterate to the people one more time?
Yeah, the project is called Mother's Entrepreneurship, and like I said, it's going to be starting over in the Miami metropolitan area. It's a good location. That's the first location that reaches his arms out to Latin America and the Caribbean. Like I said, I'm looking. I'm still taking resumes as far as with the body, with the coordinators or whatever. I'm trying to get as many women as possible, because I'm trying to make this women's thing. I'm not trying to make this a male supremacist, thing. I'm trying to get that out of focus, because I'm trying to focus on the energy that we at carrying right now. But I think I know it's more. This is one of those good Moorish men I was talking about, G. Like, this is what I'm talking about. Real dudes that's working to do real things for women. You know what I mean? This ain't, you know what I mean? No BS. It's real shit. And even though it's dealing with the UN, you know what I mean? You got to understand that the UN was set up to deal with the nations that went bankrupt from dealing with the false nationality shit. But that's also a backdoor into things like the backdoor Puerto Rico that this dude, Baby, is trying to attach itself to with this fake diplomatic shit. Where really he's trying to, or that's really them putting themselves under a secularship in which they are petitioning. He's petitioning on attached to somebody who's petitioning to get this status. So he's not really even the main dude, which we know. But again, it shows how even the base, instead of these niggas coming and messing with the Moors that really know how to do all of that, they talking to some Jew or some esquire based upon their money factor who's taking all their money and giving them the false way of how to do it. But because there's so many fake Moors doing so much bullshit, you see what I'm saying? And fake black consciousness, all of that dudes doing so much shit, a lot of the women, again, is getting turned off. But they the ones that's really ready to pop it. Yeah, that's you know what? And that's it right there. And like I said, before any time you step in a courtroom or you deal with anybody first internationally, you dealing in common law. A lot of people, just like, my instance, what I'm saying? I got, one of my relatives locked down, They go in a courtroom, they say enough to get by. But you're going to meet a judge that just probably don't know about it, or probably just going, touch your limits. And if you ain't in the status of a creditor in the courtroom, I don't care if you from a super mass Asia, a Mexican empire, you feel me? They ain't trying to hear that, because it doesn't show on the paper. They're not on notice. It's not nothing that shows that you're a creditor. You're a debt. You feel me? They say you are a chattel slave, and just like with the UN, I know the UN. I know that the Moorish, move by itself surpassed the United Nations. But just like with this project right here, I'm just trying to use this, because I'm not going to be direct. This is just one of the many hats, I wear to get things moving, because, I see what needs to be done. Like I said, I'm very aware of the media. I'm very aware of certain things that people play in the media, like they play like they sick or they got cancer, and I know damn well they just trying to, they're trying to avoid publicity, because the American empire is falling, And
exactly.
and I always, and people always say, it's falling, but like I said, it's things that can be done to avoid stuff. People just dwell on misery and sorrow, but I'm just trying to use whatever that's possible. Like I said, and you are well protected by me because, I don't care if I live to see today or tomorrow. I'm not a coward. I'm gonna keep, doing what's necessary to live what's left of a humanity.
Right.
But at the same time, I'm serious about this. I'm serious about helping women. I'm serious about empowering women, no matter what nationality, whatever, whether you're black, white, Latino. It doesn't matter because I know the same bullshit that we catching here in America, somebody catching us somewhere else.
That's right.
And it's all about connecting.
We coming down.
What you say?
Give them the website one more time because we're about to.
Yeah. Oh, my bad. The website is humanity.org.be, and it's in Spanish. And if you got Google Translate, you can do it. But it's, again, humanity.org.be. I appreciate it, brother.
Right, my brother. Thank you, King, for coming on, and thanks to the brother as well who works with you doing it. Very sharp, very astute.
Yeah, he go. Oh yeah, hey, yeah, holla at my this is my man. Anybody, any mother that's serious, come through. My man's right here, Aseer. I trust his heart. You know what I'm saying? I know that he's real about it. So yeah, come through, my man. That's why I call him up.
Indeed. So
right.
and Twan to him, and we definitely gonna build soon.
All right, man. Peace, man.
All right, my brother. Peace. So yeah, everyone. We definitely want to say peace. Lane want to say something. Hold on.
I just wanted to thank everybody for listening and for supporting stuff that doesn't have to be embroiled in debates and drama and throwing somebody else down to make what point, I don't even know yet. But I wanted to ask, because I rarely share what we go through personally, but during this whole flood, we were able to acquire a little used car, a 1998 Volvo. But y'all know how them Volvos are made. They're excellent cars, and we got the title like 2 months ago. Long story short, it's been flooded. Our little Volvo that's been waiting for us in New York is gone. So I wanted to put energy out there and open up a portal because I would love to start traveling across the Midwest as well as going to spots like Atlanta and Texas and our supporters in North Carolina and South Carolina and everyone that has loved to and would hopefully I would love to meet in the future. I would do so, and we would be able to come to you guys with a lot more freedom. And we had hopes to this summer and like this spring to just be able to, be more locomotive. And it's seeming to take a longer time to acquire something like that. So I'm putting out the energy. Anybody that has a used car or something that's, hopefully with no GPS system in it. But stranger things have happened. Who knows? There might be somebody listening that's like, oh, shit, I'm sitting on 2 trucks in my garage, and it would be great to donate one to us. And I asked for it like that because I would do so much more, and we would be able to be so many more places if we had a little support like that. But I'm unwilling to befriend girlfriends and to make friends with people for their whips and to, be just like for what, a car? Like there was a time I had one, and we don't anymore. So regardless of what has happened, I wanted to put energy out there. I know it's only like $2,500 to get a little used car out here, but we've never had more than keeping ourselves afloat and keeping the book afloat and keeping things afloat to take it to the next level. So I'm asking for any portal opening, donations, anyone writing off taxes, or we're here. Anything like that would be great because we'd be able to travel and set up our own small family lecture tour on our own if we had the ability to get from place to place. So I'm asking for that opening to be created and for you guys to still remember that not all of us charge money for doing what we do, but it would behoove those that do benefit to just donate $5, even if it's $5 a week, to dukeoftears@gmail.com. But if there's somebody that can donate $5, I know that there's a special people out there that have always looked out, and I'm asking for a little used vehicle. It could be a goddamn Geo Metro, which is what I got my license on, but I'm literally putting it out there because I would like to experience more and start our own little family tour. All right, have a good night, you guys, and thanks for listening. We just got in from Publix, so I'm about to put this boy down, and I love everyone that understands the dynamic of family and staying together. So thank you. I say.
Yeah, man. Anybody who wants to donate $5, $500, $1,000, whatever, it all is going into the upkeep of the research and the positive works that we're striving to keep drama free, and ultimately we're going to announce again after December 21st what we're striving to do in terms of opening up something that everyone can benefit from all parts of the country and the world. So we definitely want to deal with that as well. So again, anybody wants to donate anything like that, you can go to PayPal at dukeoftears@gmail.com. That's the account. You can put whatever you like. Also, when it comes to, like I said, true nationality as opposed to militant rhetoric, have to draw the line and allow ourselves the luxury of indulging in that in the times that we won't need to, but when it comes to matters of civics and ethics, dealing with ethics, we're dealing with the aspect of maintaining a spiritual and celestial serenity over our theocratic autonomous moiety, basically, or moanity, which really represents the part of us that is striving to unify both aspects of our reality to be able to benefit from the highest levels and the lowest levels. The prophet said, find a way to circumscribe your lower passion so you can aspire and bring yourself to the higher levels of civilization, because what that does is it frees you up. So in essence, find a way to deal with your vice. Render unto Caesar what is Caesar. And not feed into them to the point that and vengeful is something that is supposed to be freeing and uplifting to us all, which is the true purpose of what we're supposed to be in this for. Yet, that's again an opinion based upon not involving us, striving not to involve in anything that's going to detract from where we all need to go. So whatever images and art and whatever I can produce to do so, I choose to do that. So that way when the time comes, there can be something that was in the epoch of time that says that we were not what these people say we are. And now that the time has come and that the trust is supposed to be established, those of us who are truly a part of it will receive the benefits of that and will now be put in a position to actually administer what needs to happen in the smooth transition of what is to come. So they've always been giving you the doom aspect of it and how it's all going to end and blow up in your face. But what if there's a whole other way of doing it? Remember, the Bible say that there would be a bridge that the people would walk right over. And when you look at representations of that bridge, it's the same Royal Arc Bridge that you see in St. Louis, which represents Old France, which represents Paris, or Old Paris, which represents the union between St. Louis and Anna Maria, which basically led to the absorption of the Dugdamandia lands into that and then forced under secret by these Caucasoid Sons of Liberty that were put in play by these black people who did not want us to succeed and maintain our own individualness. So, anybody wants to get in on a new class this week that says it's entitled The Enemy of My Enemy is My True Enemy, you have to definitely head us up at houseofel@hotmail.com. Also check out www.darkscope418.com. That's for the book and the associated materials. Check out Team Cordoba. That's myself and the Queen and Amor at Team Cordoba, iTunes, TuneCore. You could also check out www.cookingmorewithless.com as well as blackmambaworkouts.com. Check out the Queen's works. Also, check out Melanin Active Yoga, DVD. It's really opening up a lot of chakras for people who are really doing the knowledge. So, again, thank you for all the donations and all the support. And like I said, we got 12 days to go. So we're going to speak to you next Monday. And inshallah, like I said, if you want to get in on the class, the enemy of my enemy is my true enemy. It's very important because it's dealing strictly, like I said, with what nationality should actually be declared, in my view, based upon what was left by the original founders that most of these Moors are not talking to you about. So again, those people in the class know. Spread the word to those that are serious about it. And inshallah, we'll see you there. Peace.